Okay. Okay. All right, you guys. So I'm Rachel Mitchell, and I am a 3-star diamond coach. And hold on, I got to give my kid a hug. He's going to bed. Come on. Good night, bud. I love you. And I am hosting this with Chris Parrett. We are going to talk to you a lot tonight about. I'm going to let Chris introduce herself as well, but we really want to talk to you. Yes, this is a power hour. This may be a little untraditional if you've done a lot of power hours with the Dream Team. We really want to walk you through like what we do on a daily basis instead of saying, okay, let's do 5 invites and just wait while you do that. We want to just show you like what we do. And specifically, we want to talk to you about building relationships. All right. Because this is totally 100% a relationship business. And if it's not for you, then, coaching may not be working for you. If you're not focusing on really investing in people through your posts, through your invites, through your follow-ups, through just what you're putting out there. If people are not your target, then it's going to be hard to be successful and be consistent in this. And so I personally, have been a coach since gotta think, August 2014. I have hit Success Club every single month. I'm a consistent SC10 and above earner, and all that to say, it's just because of people. Like, I make people my business, and when we're doing that as coaches on a daily basis, like, you will win. Yes, you have to do the work. Yes, you have to do the power hour. But if people are your focus, then you're going to be good. You're going to be golden. Okay. And that's kind of what we're going to talk to you guys about tonight. I'm going to let Chris introduce herself first, and then I'll just jump into like what we're going to do.
Awesome. Thanks, Rachel. Hi, everybody. I'm Chris Parrett, and I am the founder. My team is Team Busy Fit. I am a coach here, diamond coach under the Dream Team, under Melanie as my personal upline. And I was so excited when Rachel and I got to do this together because her and I are so similar in the relationship building. There are some people when you're talking, and there's all different types of coaches out there. So you find what resonates for you. And so her and I, to find out that we have a very, very similar philosophies in how we build relationships, we build very solid relationships. So I am not a quantity numbers person, a big numbers person, but those people that I've taken that time and we engage and we have those relationships, and they are the bread and butter, so that we do know so much about. And so that's what gets really exciting. And some people are just, they might be confused that, are we supposed to be getting numbers? Are we supposed to be building relationships? There's not one right answer because everybody's personalities really are different. And so that's why I love when we rotate around the different coaches, so you can get a different perspective of all the leaders and you can find what resonates for you. And so I hope, I know every time we do these power hours, I take a little bit away from what everybody has to say, because everybody does it differently, or maybe something needs to be fresh. So if you've been a coach for a little while and you need to freshen it up, that's great. You can always learn something new. If you're a new coach and you're just like, you're in the deer in headlights phase where you're just like, everything's coming at you a million miles and you're just like, I don't even know what I'm supposed to be doing right now. These power hours are great to take those pieces of information and say, yes, that struck me as, that is me. That is how I want to be doing business. And you can follow it. And that's how you grow and develop as a coach. So if there are any new coaches on here, please don't be getting overwhelmed with everything that comes at you, everything that comes at you tonight, or anything that comes at you in general. Just take it day by day, because obviously, Rachel's been here since 2014. I've been a coach since 2015. And it's a matter of finding your comfort level to be able to show up every single day. If you can show up every single day and be consistent, you will be a successful coach, period. There's no magic about that. There's no circumventing it. You just have to show up, do those vital behaviors, and there's different ways to do the vital behaviors every single day. Okay. So, with that said, exciting. We've got some slides for you. We do have one interaction, so I hope everybody took their pictures like I told you to. And you'll see why. One of the ways that a new way that we're creating and branching out, because if you guys haven't seen about social media yet, it's changing just a little bit, that dynamic. So we're going to kind of delve into that tonight and how we're building relationships that way. So I'm going to turn it back over to Rachel. I've got to make sure we do this right, because I got slides to share, and Rachel's going to present.
Well, I'm just downloading them real fast, because I think that if I'm talking, I have to be sharing the slides. So I think.
Okay.
Is that where, I don't know. That I'm not
So
sure.
we build relationships. We don't build technology, just so you guys know that.
Yeah,
Very clear.
like we leave that to Canva and like Beachbody and all that stuff, right?
Right. But they
Um,
make us look really good too
they
when we know
do.
how to use them.
Okay. So, but let me say too, like as we move forward, this is very informal. Yes, we're going to present you guys with a lot of information and a lot of our systems and things, but please feel free to unmute yourself. There are not a ton of people on this call, and we want you guys to walk away with something that helps you grow your business and be stronger at the end of this. Okay. So, while I am waiting on that to download, let me just say, a lot of people, one of the things that I really, really, really pride myself on in my business and that I shoot for, one of my major goals every single month, like when I make out my marketing calendar, I put a date on there that I want to hit Success Club. And so I usually aim, depending on the month, I usually aim for Success Club 5 by the 5th and Success Club 10 by the 10th. Okay. Those are just, Success Club in my business is a non-negotiable. Honestly, at this point, Success Club 10 is a non-negotiable in my business. Like I know that if I'm doing the vital behaviors, if I'm consistent in doing those, that I can hit that number, Success Club 10, pretty, I won't say easily, but consistently. And so and this is a huge part of how I'm able to hit Success Club so early in the month, because guys, like for me personally, if I'm not getting it out of the way, if I'm not marking that off, checking it off, then it kind of like it messes with my brain, and that does not help me be the best coach that I can be. Okay. And so that is one of the reasons it's my goal. Obviously, number two, like Success Club means that I am directly impacting other people's lives. It means I'm getting people started with Shakeology. I'm getting people started with a workout program that I know works. I'm getting them plugged into a challenge group that I love to lead, that I'm proud of, that I pour my heart and soul into. And I'm getting them started with systems that worked for me. And so that is definitely my goal. I'm still waiting for this to download just for a second. It should be here. Sorry, guys. I was not prepared for this. And so anyways, it's all about their relationships. Like I don't go a day in my business without investing in a relationship in some way. And so like I really encourage you guys, like take notes, pick our brains, ask questions, and just listen to what we have to say, because seriously, this is like the secret to not even a secret, to what makes me be successful, helps me be successful. And so that's what we're going to share with you tonight. Obviously, we introduced ourselves already, Chris and myself. I am also, like, I'm a full-time history instructor. Chris works full-time. We both do this on the side, essentially. We both have two small children, two rambunctious little boys. And we both love our jobs and our families, but we do make this work around all of that. Okay. So, first, I want to talk to you about giving to get. This is we'll say this 500 million times, but this is a relationship business. Like you see so many other multi-level marketing businesses out there where people sign up and they just start posting. Like they just start posting links. They just start posting like stock images. They just start saying, okay, buy this. This is a sale. You can get it 25% off. And like, what is the first thing that you do? You're like, and you just keep scrolling, or you unfriend them, and that is not what this business is about. Like I cannot be successful. Sure, I can sell challenge packs. Sure, I can hit Success Club. Sure, I can rank advanced. But if I'm not like building strong, confident, relationships where people trust me, then I don't have long-term success. Okay. And none of us do. And so we have to give in order to get. And that means that we don't do what other multi-level marketing companies do. We don't post stock images. If you're posting stock images, if you're copying images from Beachbody or from other coaches, then you're probably not having much success. But if you are being yourself, and Chris is going to go into that a little bit more, if you're sharing your story, if you're giving information, if you're giving value out there, if you're not posting links, but you're just showing what you're doing and what's working for you, then that's where the success comes. All right. And so I want to talk about, like, don't be a taker. don't be one of those people that just uses social media in order to hit your goals. I cannot successfully go a day without adding value in some way publicly through social media. Yes, we're going to talk about doing that in our one-on-one conversations and relationships, but I want my social media feed. My personal goal is for me personally to, if I quit coaching tomorrow, like I would still want to have enough content that adds value that people would come back to my page. All right. So that means I do things like I share the struggle. Like I share, the other night I shared a post about how homework was just like killer. Like it was a struggle for my family that night. Trying to get Henry, my oldest, through his homework was just like made me want to pull my hair out. And so that was something that a lot of moms could relate to. Sharing recipes, sharing tips for getting your kids to eat healthier foods. Talking about, ways that I make myself get up earlier in the morning. Doing things that motivate me, talking about things totally unrelated to health and fitness necessarily, like, how I invest in my relationship. Faith is a huge part of who I am, and it's part of my business. And so I'm constantly sharing takeaways from my devotions and things like that, and encouraging women. Like I have a mission statement that is about, like I want to empower women to make better choices for themselves, to understand the value and the self-worth that we have, and to realize that the choices that we make every single day not only impact us, but they impact those that are around us and the people that we love the most. And so my goal is to encourage and inspire and empower women to make better choices for themselves overall, in their health, in their family relationships, in their marriage, with their kids, in their work environment. And so, like, even like I said, if I stopped being a health and fitness coach tomorrow, like I would want to have a social media feed where people come back to me because they know I'm going to provide more than just information about Shakeology and 21 Day Fix or 80-Day Obsession. Okay. So when you look at your social media feed, and this is something that I do on a weekly basis, is I will stop and I'll go and I do this. I'm going to share this with you because I can. Let's see. I will go to my Instagram feed because it is really just the easiest one to do this with, and I'll do like a three scroll 3 times. Okay, so this is my social media feed. Can you guys see that? This is my social media feed. So like this is, if I scroll down 3 times, and it just looks like if there's too much of me, if there's not enough like value, if there's not enough recipes, if there's not enough of my family, then I know that I need to step it up in certain areas. And so for me, again, when I look at this, is this something that would make me personally want to come back to my social media feed? Like I shared this about food. I shared about work in the business. This was about, I just had surgery on Tuesday, and I shared about that and the struggle with that. This is a devotion type post that I shared. This was an invite to my January 1st challenge group. And that's another thing, like if I'm not, yes, we don't want to be salesy. Yes, we don't want to just, post the same things over and over, but it's not hard to put those challenge group posts out there so long as we're doing it in a way that shares our own personal story. And so a social media review of looking to see is my feed, is it adding value in any way? That is a huge part of what I do on a daily, or I do that on a weekly basis. Let me go back to this slide. But don't be a taker. How can you add value? Obviously, like I'm not going to talk about how coaching allows me to stay home because I don't get to do that. But I do talk about how coaching, pays for our date nights. It pays for our vacations. And when I'm sharing things like that, why is that value? Because I'm putting the opportunity out there for other women by sharing my story. How can you encourage? Yes, you can post a sweaty selfie all day long, but if you just post a sweaty selfie and it says, hey, I did my 21 Day Fix workout, boom, now I'm going to work, like that's not, yeah, that's cool and that's awesome for you, but after a day or two, that gets old. But if you talk about the fact that, oh my goodness, my kid peed the bed last night, and no, you don't want to put that out there publicly, probably because you'd embarrass your kid. But, like my kid got up 3 times last night with a nasty cough. And I was just so tired this morning. The last thing I wanted to do is to get up and push play. But I knew that there was a group of women out there that was waiting for me to post that sweaty selfie, and that motivated me, and it's done. I'm excited. I don't have to think about it the rest of the day. And I know that I did something good for myself today. So I told my story, and I posted my sweaty selfie, and I shared how, challenge groups help me be successful. Okay. So think about your content. Think about what you're putting out there. Is it something that is more than just a post to be posting, or are you really putting some thought and yourself into the post that you're putting out there? How can you lift up? Like, not every post that I make is about Beachbody or about Shakeology or a meal plan or anything like that. A lot of times the posts that I put out there are just things that are on my heart. Like, if I'm struggling with fitting it all in and feeling like I'm not cutting it in all areas of my life, like, I will stop. I will find a devotion or a scripture or something that speaks to me, and then I'll put that into a post that just says something like, "Hey, mamas, like, I feel you. I know that you're struggling. I see you. I hear you. I want you to know that you're not alone and that you can do this. Just lift your head high and keep going. Those babies, your husband, they all need you, And so, like, that's a way that I can lift up and be myself and share my story. And again, go to your social media feed. What does 3 swipes of your page communicate to you? Or ask somebody else to review it for you. Like, I have a coach that she'll come to me from time to time, and she's like, "Hey, go look at my Instagram feed. Go look at my Instagram stories. Like, am I sharing, enough of myself? And I did that the other day for her. And I was like, Hannah, I don't see any sweaty selfies. Like, not that our feed has to be totally sweaty selfies, but if I went to your page, if I didn't go to your stories, if I just went to your Instagram page, like, I wouldn't know that you had anything really to do with health and fitness." So, so she started to post more of her workout selfies, even though she was doing it in her Instagram stories. Like, if people didn't watch her stories, they wouldn't have known what she was about. So review your page, ask somebody to do it for you. I do it for myself because I know what I'm looking for, and I know when I need to add more of this or less of that, and so those are ways that I really focus on not being a taker. But and again, too, these are going to be things that we're going to talk about. They're going to create engagement. If I'm talking about my life and my story and sharing that, it's in every single post, that creates engagement with the people that follow me. Let me let's see. Move on. Oops. Okay. Yeah. Another thing, ask questions, and again, like, I can't stress this enough, like, share your story. Like, tonight, I mean, if you go back, and I encourage you to not to compare to me, or not that I do it perfectly, but this is something I've really worked hard on lately, and it's really paying off for me. Like, when I do a challenge group post, like, we were taught in the beginning, and Chris, you can verify this if you were too, but, like, we were taught to, tell a little bit of your story, explain a challenge group, mark, write out the bullet points of what you're getting in a challenge group, and then give a call to action. And I still do that, but I do it much more in a story-like way. So, like, for this past week, I've been talking about 80-day obsession. But if you just looked at my post, you wouldn't know anything. You wouldn't know that I was a Beachbody coach. You wouldn't know that I was marketing 80-day obsession. I was just, like, starting to tell what I was doing that day, whether it was, like, talking to women about changing their health and fitness, whether I was doing research on time nutrition or different things. But, like, I start by telling what I'm doing in that moment, and asking other moms if they can relate to the struggle or the wins or whatever it is. And I turn it into a post about my upcoming challenge group, about, the fact that my body's not a 21-day investment. It's not an 80-day investment. It's not a 30-day investment. It's a lifelong investment. And I do these programs because they work. I join these communities of women because they fuel my fire. They motivate me. And so if you just work at sharing your story in every single post, and not just posting to get 3 to 5 posts in a day. Like, honestly, I post fewer posts now than I did as a new coach. Like, I aim to post 2 to 3 posts a day, but they have to have meaning. They have to have content. It can't just be a picture of my food and say, "Oh, I ate a kale salad with chicken tonight." It has to be part of my story. Like, it was a long day. My family had jujitsu, we had church, whatever. And thank the Lord that I keep these bags of kale salad in my refrigerator, because it was totally my go-to tonight. and it was awesome. It was delicious, and it didn't take me away from my kids for more than like 5 minutes. And we got to do bedtime, so you see how I weave my story into each post. And people just relate to that more than when you just throw up those posts. Ask questions in your post. Like if you come home from a long day at work and you're like, oh my goodness, like I want a glass of wine so bad, but it doesn't fit into my plan. Moms, can you relate? Is that kind of your go-to? Ask questions. My kid stayed up all night. He had a bad dream. Moms, how do you deal with this? What do you do when your kid has a bad dream? If you ask questions, you're going to get engagement, and people are going to start to follow you more and come back to you more. And it also boosts your posts and just helps people relate to you a little bit more. And again, add value that would draw your attention. I'm a mom. Like I don't like Melanie always says this a lot, like I'm not going to post about going on spring break and wanting to have like a rock hard body. That's just not going to happen in my life anymore. My focus is more on having energy, on being present for my kids, on not being tired and cranky and just constantly upset. Like a huge motivation for me is to look and feel a certain way, so that I'm more confident in with my husband, and just knowing that I'm doing things that honor God with my body. Okay. And so that is the add value that would draw your attention. And don't compare yourself to other coaches, and don't try to post like other coaches. Let's see. Chris, I'm trying to move through these. There we go. Okay. So I'm going to turn it over to Chris, unless anybody has questions about any of that, but she's going to talk about breaking the ice. Do you unmute yourself? Okay, I got you.
Okay, thank you. I can't see it when it's shared like this. So, okay. So I don't know. Actually, I'm going to stop sharing. Can you stop sharing the slides for a second? Okay, awesome. So I don't know, with everybody that's on here right now, the mix of you, how many of you love inviting? Love to just raise your hands. You just love inviting. You just love walking up to people and like, hey, lady, that's awesome that you're getting some broccoli in the grocery store. I run a challenge group. You want to come join me? You guys love doing that? Yeah, no, right? I totally get it. And even 2 years into this business, I am not a big social person. Like we get into a big group of people and I'm like, I just want to have these one-on-one conversations with people. I don't do this big, massive. So that's why relationships, when Rachel and I are talking about it, relationships are just like, the first part of it is like, actually, it's really just scary to get even started on these conversations with people. And it's even scarier. I don't know if it's scarier to have the conversations with people that are kind of like, okay, yeah, my friends, they're all going to join me, right? And so then if they don't join you, then you're like, I'm kind of mad at you. But you sent that invite out. But then it gets scarier too, as your warm market kind of starts to dry up, how you recreate and replenish that warm market. And you're meeting these strangers on social media. And for some of you, you might be people that are out in doing fit clubs, or might be trainers in a gym. And so you're interacting with people out there, or people that you see in person. What we're focusing on here tonight is social media, because really that's where the bread and butter of our business is, and where that's where I have the expertise, or I shouldn't say expertise, but that's where my knowledge is. That's where we focus on. And so for me to make connections on social media with complete strangers, to start building those relationships again, totally scary, guys. So if you're scared about it, if you're overwhelmed about it, know that you are not alone, and know that every single one of us go through the same thing. And so it doesn't matter if you've been a coach for 2 days or 2 years, we all go through the same thing on it. But the difference between the success, like I said before, is the consistency in those actions. You have to keep building your business. And by building your business, you have to bring in new people. You have to make new relationships. So how can you do it, and how can it be just a little less scary? So, I'm excited. Guess who has emerged from his office? My husband was finishing up his paper, and I think he's done for his class now. Anyway, so how do you make it just a little less scary? And one of the things that I have developed, so I'm on Facebook. I don't know. I'm on Facebook. I don't understand Snapchat, so Snapchat's not a social media outlet for me. And what happens is, okay. What ends up happening for me is I have only so many people that I can friend on Facebook. And when I say that, I'm not talking about reaching my, the 4,000 limit. I'm talking about there's only so many people that I'm making these connections with, and friending people just seems kind of, it's so commitment. It's a big commitment when you friend request somebody. You're like, how do I really know you? But what I really love, and I don't know how many of you guys are on Instagram. I fought Instagram for ages as well. I'm so weird, and I will not jump on a new trend right away. And so Snapchat was like just a stretch too far for me. I didn't understand it. But Instagram, all of a sudden one day I said, oh my gosh, I totally get it. Instagram is a purpose. And what I love about Instagram is that people are coming to your page, not to see your whole life necessarily. They're coming to your page for a specific reason, for a specific purpose. That's why we use those hashtags, because if you're using a hashtag of, fit mom or busy mom, or they're coming to see how a busy mom is handling things. And so, but still having those people in attracting them. So it's not just getting onto social media and making these posts and making them engaging and telling your story, because you have even less time to tell a story on Instagram because it's about the pictures on there, right? So how do you create these followers, and how do you take these followers and turn them into relationships? And there's two things that you can be doing. And I like it because Instagram has the expectation that you are here to talk to them about fitness. You're not here to talk about the weather with them and then their kids and then have this full conversation. And so I started using a program called STIM, STIM. And there's a free trial out there that's available for it. And there's a number of different programs out there too. InstaZood is another one. But what it did for me when I just couldn't figure out how to make these connections and make these relationships, STIM came in and said, tell me the kind of sites you like. Like, tell me, are you a scary mommy person? Are you, what are the sites that you use? And then they started making these connections for you. Like they build it up and they help make these connections for you. They're saying, I think based on what you've been posting, what you've been hashtagging, you and this person will help connect you. And so it's done two things for me. It really got me comfortable with Instagram. So if you guys aren't comfortable with Instagram yet, check this out. Because it is, it's something that's like takes that first step of a relationship there. And there's something else that you can also try too, because it does an instant message every time somebody follows. So we already do that when somebody likes our posts, right, on Facebook. If you're on Facebook and somebody likes your post, you're like, hey, thanks for the like, are you here to support? Are you interested in coaching? They've already, if they follow you on Instagram, they're following you on Instagram because they are interested in your fitness. They are interested in if you're coaching or whatever your message is that you're giving on Instagram. And so in order, okay, we're screen sharing. Okay. Whoops. I'm not sure what happened. Sorry. And so it's really exciting to be able to just have that little extra help. Now, Instagram doesn't necessarily want a third party system that goes in there. They want to have these organic relationships being built. But what I'm telling you and why I'm telling you about STIM and why I'm telling you that I used it is because it got me comfortable with building those relationships with people that were following, or how to find followers. Because I'm spending all this time like searching hashtags and I don't even understand, like I'd get a person's post and I'm like, I don't get why I'm following this hashtag. It sounds like it should be a cool hashtag, but I don't get it. And I'm wasting a lot of time doing it. So if you're short on time, because like Rachel said, Rachel's a professor. She's busy mom, everything else. I am a full-time human resources specialist. I've got 2 kids. My husband is working on his PhD. He works full-time. And so when I sit down to do my office hours, I don't have a lot of time to sit there and just mindlessly scroll either Facebook or these hashtags or anything else like that. I needed something to help get me to that point where I was proficient, and helped me be proficient. So when you start looking at something like STIM or any of those extra icebreakers that are out there, it helps you bring those people in and get them, find out who they're engaging with, because then it's going to turn around and you follow them. So then you turn around, Ashley, it's a website. stimsocial.com is the one that I use. I have no idea. I probably should be a better rep of it and see if I had like a referral website or not, but whatever, I don't care. It was something that's just really helped me, and it helped me go from 200 followers to 2,300 followers. But these are not just like random followers, and they're not just empty shells. These are people that I actually connect with. And what it does is it every month it's cyclical, where it goes up in the people that you're following. And then if it sees that you're engaging with them, then you'll continue to follow them as well, and they will follow you. And if you're not engaging with them, they'll unfollow the people, so that you have a good follow to followers ratio. Does that make sense, you guys? Yeah. And so it's another tool, especially when you're starting out, or if you're struggling with inviting. I don't plan to use it for forever, because it's a paid site, and I like to rotate around my resources. We've got a limited budget if you guys have set your budget. But it's been really worth it for me to finally get comfortable on another social media outlet, because Facebook was just, it was, I don't want to say it was drying up, but the excitement and the engagement that we were getting was only so many people at this point. And I was finding a lot of people were leaving Facebook, because it gets really, I don't know about you guys, I don't know if it's just maybe my circle of friends, but they get really judgy, and they get really like opinionated on posts. And, like if you throw the election out there and everybody wants to have an opinion on that, and it was obnoxious. Like, I like Instagram now because I just like seeing the pictures, and I'm like, oh yeah, that totally caught my attention. If Rachel posted something about that kale, I'd be like, oh, whoa, Mom, what do you got going on there? I am totally about whatever we can be doing to have something on hand, like time-saving tips. So, hold on, I've got a couple. Yeah, so Marcy, you've been staying away from Facebook more. And yes, stimsocial.com you've got that right, STIM social.com. So STIM social, one word. And maybe I'll do it. Maybe I won't be doing it where they do the instant response. So I'm paying right now to have the instant response as well, so that I can still be following people during the day. If you do that trial on it, I will recommend one thing on there. Remember that this is supposed to be an organic site. So I've seen a lot of people that will friend request us, or I say friend request, I'm sorry, I'm mixing up my social medias. Follow, and you'll get this instant message back that's like this long, about 10 seconds after you just followed them. There is no way that they could have typed that to you, like legitimately. And so I kept it really short. My response, if you follow me, is, hey, whatever your username is, thank you so much for the follow. That's awesome. Are you on a health and fitness journey of your own, or what's your jam? Period. That's it. And something short like that has caught their attention. They've actually read it, and I get a lot of responses. So I get that. So every time that you've done the initial follow-up, or that initial contact with people when you've been following them, keep it short and sweet. Health and fitness is what you're into. Like, that's what your jam is. Or if your site is about, being a mom or being busy or whatever it is, short and sweet message about that, and straight up ask them. Because that's what you're here to engage about, and you're here to engage your business. And that is the great thing about Instagram right now, is that it makes inviting easier. So if you guys are not on it yet, wait, everybody on Instagram here, raise your hand. I can see you. Yes. Is Instagram getting to be your primary? Like, you guys really loving Instagram, or you're just like kind of, yeah? Okay, so I got some and I got some yes, and I'm going to assume everybody that doesn't have video on is just going So this will help on the next section that I have. So I hope this has given you a little bit. This section gave you a little insight. You're not alone in inviting. Like, whatever you're feeling about invites, I totally get it. Like, if you like the fear of rejection, or you just like rejection in general, there's some other issues going on. It's fine. We're not judging you, but okay. Most of us do not like that rejection. We kind of get scared of it, how we get over it. And there are ways to get over it. And there's ways to make these connections easier. So if you can just be upfront, be yourself. Oh, I'm going into my next section. I can't talk about this yet, about being yourself. So, but just the invites and making those connections daily, and getting a little help. There's nothing wrong with getting a little help. So I hope you guys check it out. And I'd love to hear your feedback too, if you guys are checking it out. what you think of it. Or if you find something else, like I said, there's another one out there that I know, Instazood, Instazood, I believe is what it is. And again, Instagram isn't necessarily big on third parties, but they're not here. You're not here to create a third party that's going to be posting for you and finding shell followers. You're trying to find those connections too. So if they see you engaging and interacting, knock on wood, I haven't had a problem with this yet, and nor do I think we should, because we're trying to be social with it. We're keeping up with the intent and the spirit of what Instagram wants from us. So let me make sure we didn't have any other questions. And I'm sorry, I don't want to say your name wrong. Stacia? Did I say your name right? Yeah, I did. Okay, great. So there's a couple different package options. The question was, do they message for you right after they follow you? And there's a couple different package options. And what I did was I used the package option that did provide the instant direct message. So when you try Instagram, or I'm sorry, Stim, what will happen is you can do the trial, and then at the end of the trial, they'll say, hey, do you want to try this for a discounted amount? And I'm like, okay, well, I would really like to see how well this works. I will tell you that when you start following, and if you have that instant message, that automatic instant message, the influx at the beginning of the month, at the beginning of the cycle, is a little whoa, overwhelming. That's a lot of messages going out and people contacting me and I don't know what's going on. But it evens itself out during the month. So and then it'll start to unfollow people. Does that make sense? So you've got a big influx of people. They're seeing who's sticking, and it's coming back down. And so then the messages won't be so much. Then you can get caught back up, and you're like, okay. And then it starts to go back up again. So it's a great cycle. And do I reach out to every single person when they start to follow you on Instagram? Raina, I don't. Stim does, because I do pay for the direct message. But again, that just gives them the first message to answer back to see how they're going to respond to the conversation. And it's incredible when you ask such a direct question like that, how people are just like, whoa, okay. And they will tell you, I've had people that have just jumped into their entire history of just the most incredible things, the things that you're pulling teeth on to try to find from people when you're engaging and interviewing them. And then you end up finding this. So it's worth it to ask that very direct question and very short, and not give them too much. Okay. Any other questions on breaking the ice in inviting? No? All right. I'm turning it back over to you, Rachel.
Yeah. Hey, and I'll say too, because Chris turned me on to that STEM social, and I just started it. I did the 5-day trial last week, and it ran out, and I just updated it to try. I'm going to pay for it for a little while to see how I like it. But I'll say that just in that 5-day trial, my engagement went way up on Instagram. It went way up. It added, I don't know, probably close to 600-700 followers. And that's a lot of people on Instagram. So, it's worth doing the 5-day trial and seeing what happens, because Instagram is a beast to me. I feel like I've gotten really comfortable with Facebook, even in building my page a little bit more. But I feel like I think we constantly have to be evolving as coaches, because the way that I coach and the way that I talk to people and find people now and start conversations is definitely different than it was 3.5 years ago. And I think Instagram is a great place to grow your market and to really define your niche, which is a whole different call, honestly. But yeah, I would definitely try it if you have it. Let's see. Okay, so moving on. I'm going to talk to you guys about tracking. Do you guys have any questions about starting conversations or, inviting people? Because that is a crucial part of what we do. You have to be doing that every single day. Nothing that we are sharing with you can replace just good old one-on-one conversations with people. So if you struggle with anything there, please stop us and let us know. But we really wanted to share with you how we kind of initiate those conversations and build that trust and build those relationships through what we do every single day in our posts and part of our power hour. I know that for me personally, I have learned, and I think Chris probably has too, she's got such a strong brand and such a strong voice in her messages. Like, the people that connect with us, like they trust us. And like, you'll find that the more narrow that you get, the more confident that you get in your message, then the more that you'll have people start to reach out to you and start to comment on your posts and start to respond to your calls to action. Okay, so that's really kind of what we're really trying to teach you here tonight. Let me see this chat. Kimberly asked Chris, what is that short message that you send on STEM? Can you type that in there? Yeah, okay. She'll type it, and she can even put it in the event page too, but she'll type it here. I want to talk to you guys about tracking, because this is a huge part. And honestly, as a new coach, like, I was not good at tracking. I mean, like, I was kind of like, honestly, trying to figure out if I was going to stick with this, and talking to my 2 to 3 people a day, and I didn't do a really good job of tracking it. But the longer you're in this and the more that you are talking to people, then the more you have to keep up with who you're talking to. From day one, like, we should be keeping up with who we're talking to, because if we don't, people are going to fall through the cracks. I mean, like, whether you do this full time, whether you work full time, whether you do this as a hobby, it doesn't matter. Like, you're going to get distracted. And if you're not tracking, then you are going to lose people. And I can look back and very clearly see that I lost people because I was not tracking efficiently. And so that's what I want to talk to you guys about next. Does anybody have a tracking system that you use that you're confident in? I can't see everybody, but if you do, you can just like type in the chat bar or say, no, I need help or something, because let me say too, like, I see so many coaches who kind of use this as an excuse. They're like, oh, I'm still looking for the right tracker. I haven't found the right tracker. I just don't have a system that works for me. Like, I've seen so many coaches like quit, and that's their excuse. And I'm like, oh my goodness, like, just write it down on a piece of paper, honestly. And I did that for like, I've been a coach 3.5 years, almost 3.5 years. Like, I did that for 3+ years. Okay. It wasn't until recently that I really started to use like an official, like, Streak or Teamsy or anything like that. And I just did that because like my numbers got so overwhelming. Okay. And so, yes, it is important to find what works for you, but don't let that stop you from going forward. There are so many just simple and amazing things that you can use. Google Streak is great, and I do use it a lot. But as a new coach, that would have totally just like floored me and overwhelmed me. But, there are some good training systems from coaches. Like, go to YouTube, look for Google Streak, Beachbody Coach, and there's a lot of good stuff out there, okay? But I use Teamsy now. That's a good option. You do have to pay for that. But like I was telling Chris earlier, it just gives me a reminder that I need at this point in my business. But honestly, guys, for 3+ years, I just used good old pen and paper, and I just wrote it down in my calendar every single day. And that is what helped me. And so for my system, like, every day, this is what I do every single day in my power hour in my business. Now, I'll say, like, some days I might like do a double power hour because I know I've got something the next day and I can't make it happen. But I'm consistently doing these things in my business every single day. Every day I add at least 5 new people, whether it's on Instagram, whether it's on Facebook, whether it is, through my like page. I get likes over there. We got to, like, I started with about 200 friends on Facebook when I became a coach. Now I have like over 4,000 on Facebook. I'm growing my like page. We have to expand the people who see us, and you're never, ever, ever going to run out of people to help. I promise you that. I can guarantee it. If you're doing the vital behaviors, you're not going to run out of people ever. And so I add people every single day. I connect. When I say connect, like, I will take the people, I will write down today. I added Susie Smith, and I added Ann Frazier, like, I'll write down their names, and I will know that in next week or the week after that, I want to connect with those people. So I'm a very, very slow relationship builder. I don't jump into a lot of invites and relationships just after I initially add people, because I wouldn't want people to do that to me. I've had people do that to me, and I don't like it. I don't enjoy it. It does not make me trust them. It does not make me want to be a part of what they're doing, and it gives me an icky feeling, and I don't want to give people that feeling. And so, like, if I add someone, I may not start to connect with them for 2, 3, even sometimes a month later. But that's okay because I'm adding people every single day. So I'm never running out of people to connect with. Okay. I always have this funnel of people that I'm bringing into my system. So I add every day, I connect every day. And when I say connect, it's like I'll take those people that I added 2 weeks ago, and I'll know that, now it's time to start connecting with those people. I kind of have this rule, and it's a social media rule, like 3, comment 1. So I'll go to their page, whether it's Instagram or Facebook, and I'll like a few of their posts and I'll comment on one. And that's all I'll do. I won't automatically go to an invite. I'll just connect with them. Then once they see me like their stuff, they're going to go to my page. They're going to start to kind of explore who I am. Okay. And so then I know another week or 2 later, I'm going to send them a hey girl message. What's a hey girl message? Like, I'll go to their page, I'll check it out, I'll find something to connect with. I'll send a message and say, hey girl, your family photos were awesome. Like, how did you coordinate all your outfits? I stink at that. That's a hey girl message. Okay. And so it usually gets a pretty good conversation started because it's a genuine message. Like, I don't send a message if I can't think of something to say or to connect with someone about. If they just post like all those creepy, like weird videos or something, or those the signs, like I don't know. Anyways, if they're just if there's no content there, I don't connect. Okay. And so I do it genuinely. And then after I send the hey girl message, I write down, I make a note. Okay. I've done this. I've added, I've connected. I've sent a hey girl message. I've started to really build the foundation of that relationship. The next time I have a free group or a challenge group, I'm going to invite this person to it. And the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to say, hey, Susie, I know we were connecting over your family photos, but I was putting together my boot camp for this month. It's based on faith and fitness and just really bringing women together to start to make some positive and long-lasting changes in our health. And your name just popped into my mind because we were talking. Do you have any health and fitness goals that you're working towards? Totally non-sleazy, totally genuine. I've built that relationship. And most people say yes. I've actually want to lose 5 to 10 pounds. Like, I actually need to clean up my eating. I don't feel that great, and so I have built that relationship so that when I invite, they know that I'm a real person, and they can trust me. Okay. And so that is how I build a relationship with somebody. And this is something I do every single day. And obviously follow up is a huge part of it, but I always have like 5 to 10 people that I'm talking to in play, which means that I've gone through all of this. I've explained the challenge group. They're interested. They may even have a challenge pack link, but they may just be waiting until next month. And so at the beginning of every single month, I have a list of people that I know that I'm going to follow up with. Like, for example, this was, I don't know what month this was. This is like August or something, but I started August with that list of people that I knew that I had a really good chance of getting them to join my challenge group that month because I had built such a strong relationship. Okay. And so this is just something I do every single day, and you can write it down. You can pay for Teamsy, you can pay for Google Streak, but this is something that I teach my coaches to do is like in your calendar, just draw a cross, like draw straight, a line down and a line across. In the top left corner, write down the names of the 5 people that you add that day. Top right corner, add the names of the people that you connect with that day. Bottom left, add the names of the people that you invite and the other people that you follow up with. And you can always go back to that, and it's a very clear way to track. Another thing, I'm going to stop share for just a second and show you this tracker that my team uses a lot that I really like. I think it's very, very simple. And I can share it with you guys too. If you guys don't already have it, it may be somewhere. But this is, let me change my view. Oops, not in, out. It's so simple. Like, and it even tells you like what to do. There's your daily schedule, what to do during your power hour. It's got a place to add the people that you add as friends, the names of people that you send hey girls to, your social media posts if you want to plan those, the names of the people that you invite, a coach invite, follow-ups, and then just thinking ahead and did you do your vitals that day. This is such a good, I still use this honestly. Like, if I just need to write down, I still use this on a regular basis. And I just have a binder. I printed a bunch of them out and I hole punch them and they go in a binder, and that's how I keep up with it. And so that's a really good power hour sheet. Let's see. Got some questions here. Yeah. Yes. Oh, of course. I can share that. I will share that in the Dream Team page. Will that work? The Dream Team page, that'd probably be the best place. Yeah. Okay. I can do that. And so tracking, do you guys have any questions about tracking or anything like that before I turn it over to Chris? It's important. It shouldn't make or break your business, but it's important. You've got to find a system that just works for you. And honestly, I think pen and paper is just a go-to. And I would just definitely start there. All right, Chris, I'm going to turn it over to you. Do you want me to share the slides again?
Yeah, before you do, I'm just going to say something. So I'm on the go a lot and I don't always use an app. And I'm not kidding when we talk about whatever it is that works for you. Don't make it overly complicated for a tracking system. If you guys have ever been on a call with me before, I try to show this every single time. This is what's worked for me for ages. It's just lists and lists of people. I just need to be able to see their name. Like what we've been talking about. Am I thinking of talking about them for coaching? So I've got I've got 3 pages of the notes that I keep, and I go back and I look at them every single month. And it's not complicated, but it is effective. And I just keep writing those names down, and the more I write them down, the more effective it is for me. So, if you could please, everybody get your phones ready too. All right. So if you don't have them close. What Ashley say, I prefer to use Streak or Excel, but I'm on the go so much that I finally found a great calendar. It works. Yeah, exactly. Just keep tweaking and using something. That's the whole point of it, is just use something. So I want to do this just because I really like our slides a lot and I wanted to share them. So we're going to talk about telling a story and how we tell a story. And I actually, particularly focusing on Instagram, but Facebook too has really changed. And Rachel had mentioned it earlier about how posting like 2 times with content, like with really good quality content, like what's your message? And so, you're going to want to start looking at posting less. So if you're posting 3 to 5 times a day and still following that, and especially if you're not getting a lot of engagement on the posts as well and interaction, because if you guys have heard about it, the big secret behind the Facebook algorithm, is how are you getting your things seen? And one of the biggest keys in there is the engagement. So if you don't have people not just liking, but commenting on your stuff. And so really drive home that message of 2 times a day. But you say, wait a minute, I'm only going to be doing like 2 to 3 times a day posts. How am I getting the rest of my story out there? And how am I getting the fun stuff? So what I've really liked, the shift that I've seen, is that we use Facebook, we use Instagram now on our pages are used for they're used for the telling our message, our overall message. Every day I'm that busy mom that's getting up in the morning and I'm getting my workout in and I'm telling everybody else that they can do it too, or whatever it is that I've encountered. And then, maybe during the day, if something comes up, but I'm normally working and I don't normally get on social media. I might have something about my kids later that day because it is one of my messages is about my family and what we're doing. And then at the end of the night, I always have my call to action post about a challenge group, about coaching, whatever that opportunity is. So those are my 2 to 3 posts every day. But we've got so much other things that happen during our day. And so if you are going on Instagram, and Rachel mentioned that 3 scrolls, like what do you see? If you guys are posting things about like, oh, look, my dog, I've got a new puppy, it's cute. Like one picture about your puppy on Instagram is okay, but you don't want 15 of them. But you're like, but these pictures are really great. Where do we put them? How about we use stories? And can we stop sharing for just, stop sharing for just 1 second. How many of you guys have been using Facebook or Instagram stories? Are we using them? Are we all using them? How frequently are we using them? Are we using like 3, 4, 5? Okay. One of the things I did, so good, we've got some people like, okay, this is a trick that I did to get started and to get comfortable and to kind of just play around with Instagram stories. And actually, I just do everything on Instagram stories. I save it If you guys know how to do this, if you don't know how to do it, I'll walk you through it. But I save everything on stories, and then I just pop it right over into Facebook stories. And what I did was every night before I went to bed, I took 5 minutes and I uploaded every picture that I had. I did something. I did every picture that I had done in the last 24 hours that I could do a message on that was about me, and like the fun things that got me through the day. What stories is doing is it's telling the story of your day, of what's going on, what you've been up to, so people can follow that. Because honestly, people don't want to see your plant, the plant that you've been growing. That's fantastic that you're growing it. But when we go to scroll later on, what does that have for a meaning to your message? So unless you're an herbologist or I don't know what an herbologist is, or a gardener or whatever, the plants don't tie into your meaning, into your story, or into your overall message, which is where you're posting it on Facebook and Instagram. These are going on your stories. And so that's the great thing about stories. That's what I wanted you guys to have the pictures for, because I knew a lot of my coaches weren't doing it. And they were still posting, even though you're telling them, they're still posting like the plants and the puppies on their social media page and not into their stories. So that's what we're going to do tonight. And that's, I had you guys do what those 3 posts could be on your main post, but it could be anything that you guys have been doing throughout your day to day. And the really important thing and why we're doing stories is because stories is they're coming to see that snapshot. Do they like the snapshot? Boom, 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 boom. Because they've got the, the 5 seconds on stories. You do that hashtag, they draw you in, they're going to go to your page and look at you, and the intent is that they'll follow you or they'll see what's going on. Even better is when you can get, there's so many options on stories to be able to have engagement. So like you guys know about the poll, like being able to take polls, or you can ask questions, or they'll be like, drop a comment here, and you want them to have that extra engagement. You want them to be messaging you. And it's incredible because it's those people that are searching a hashtag that it pops up that aren't following you yet. So it's one more way that you're getting these followers by just being you. You're attracting those people. Does that make sense to you guys? So we've got this great message that we get to pour our heart into on our page itself, but then we get to show who we are throughout the day. So I know we're getting short on time, and I'm actually, since most of you are familiar with stories, what I want you to do right now, I want you to take 2 minutes and post something. Those 3 pictures that I told you to do, I want you to get your phones out. I should see everybody with their phones in their hands, not just looking at me. I don't often I don't do power hours well when people are talking and while they're telling you to do something. So I'm just going to give you a minute, and I want you to show me I want you to show me your picture. Hold your phone up when you've got your picture ready to go on Instagram. What do we got? We got 1, 2. Oh, hold on a second. So tonight my kids wanted to talk. They were trying to talk me into going to Five Guys after their Taekwondo today, and we came home and made burgers and fries instead. So I call that winning. So that's what I'm sharing about right now. And be honest too. People do not want coaches that they think are perfect because they can't live up to it. So if you saw that hashtag when we first popped in, it was, I'm the hot mess. I am a hot mess. I am the mom with the crazy kids that I sometimes just look and I'm like, oh my God, I don't even know what you're on. Share that because people can identify. Share the fact that they came in and like they tracked the mud all through the house that you just cleaned, the never ending laundry. People identify, they relate with that. And that's the message you want to drive home. So, oh yeah, here, never mind. My lovely aunt. Okay, we're health and fitness coaches, right? My wonderful aunt sent me a bucket full of cookies. They're incredible, amazing cookies, but she sent us a bucket full of cookies. Oh, that woman, I tell you. So everybody's got they posted it. That Raina's like, oh no, what do we need to do? So you can do, if you look at it here, up in the corner, there's a text box. You can write on it. There's a cool highlighter. There is, if you see that little pen mark in stories, what was the question? IG stories. We're doing everything on stories. And so if you don't know how to get to stories, just in case, up in the, if you're on your on Instagram, on the main page there, and it is right, that little camera. Can you see that camera? You click that camera, and what's going to come up down here is either you could take a picture of yourself right from the camera. You could do a live. You could do boomerangs. Boomerangs are always fun, especially if you've taken your Energize and you want to show everybody how awesome it is. And you're like, that's always a fun post. But if you've taken those pictures in the last 24 hours, they'll be over here in the corner. You click on it and you can select any of those pictures. And what I do is I always pull that picture up, then I save it. And I post all of my pictures to Instagram, and then I go right over to Facebook, and I have saved all of those pictures on Instagram. So before I hit post, I hit save, and then I go over to Facebook and I and do the exact same thing over there because I'm reaching completely different people over there. Okay, we're doing it. Vanessa, you comfortable with stories? I'm calling you out. I think she might just be frozen. Okay, phew. Or she might be awake or not awake. Oh, she's not frozen anymore. Yay, I see Vanessa. IG stories, yep.
I was just posting a picture on there.
Good girl. Yes, that's awesome.
I got away from it, but I need to get back to it, the stories. I was doing it consistently, but fell off.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's a reason I asked you if you were doing it. Awesome. Ashley, did you get yours out? Yeah, Vivian. Woot woot. Hi, Vivian. Aw. Cool. So see how easy that is? And so if you guys don't know this too, another really fun thing about any of these pictures is that if you swipe up on it, whoops, not that swipe. If you swipe up, you could do things like you can tag the location. So if you're on vacation, tag the location so that the people, like you can get more exposure that way. You could do something called a poll, like a yes or no, like, hey, does this color look good on me? Or like I did the other day, I have a Christmas tree in my basement because the kids wanted the other Christmas tree up, and we put the lights on it and the ornaments are just kind of sitting there in the box still right in front of it. And the poll was, will these ornaments actually make it on the tree this year? And the poll was yes or no. And everybody that answered no were all people that knew me really well. And then like all my new followers on Facebook are like, yeah, of course you will. You can do it. You can do anything. They're all like, yeah, you'll do it. And then I looked and it's all my friends that said no. They know those ornaments aren't going on the tree this year. So it's funny. You could do things like, the hashtag. You can do another hashtag there if you're up really early in the morning or whatever it is. Or if it's cold, they've got the temperature feature on there too. So that's cool. So just lots of fun stuff. And I know we are over on time. So if we want to, you don't see the poll thing. Where am I? I don't see the poll thing.
Sometimes you have to update your phone.
Yep.
Yeah.
So if you haven't updated Instagram in a while, then the poll will not be on. When did the poll come on? It was this summer, wasn't it?
Months ago. Yeah, it's earlier. Hey, and I'll say, you were talking about location. I tag locations in England and Canada a lot too. You don't have to be there to tag them. And when you tag a location, it definitely boosts your views. So like I will tag like Glasgow or London or, Ontario or things like that. And it just brings those viewers to your page briefly. It's a lot of fun. It is fun to play around with, Vivian. And you'll see. Vivian, you'll see your engagement go up. You'll see, like Chris said, when you start using those polls and different things, like you'll have people message you.
Yep. And the other thing that I've done too is, so I told you guys be product of the product. So like on your page, what you don't want to be seen is another picture of you kissing your Shakeology and like how great it is. You're like, I love you so much. And you don't always want to be posting about how great Energize is, right? But we need to balance that with being a product of the product, right? And that's why stories is so great, because you could put that up. You could put that up every single day because you're using it every single day in a different message or a different story. Like everybody knows that it's my Go Mom juice. Like that's what you get a lot of pictures of my Energize first thing in the morning because 4:30, 5 o'clock comes really, really early. That's one of them. I do my Shakeology today. I featured I have all my water. I have a ton of containers that I drink from every day. And so I have like my water, my Energize, my Shakeology, my BPT, you know, like all carrying them, you know, like the picture of the arm full of water bottles and stuff, you know, like, is this normal? And then I featured them on my stories. And so I got a lot of people asking like, what's BPT? And what's, which is bulletproof tea. I don't drink coffee, so it's bulletproof tea. And then, and you know, Ashley, a lot of times I will forget to go back to and see who's viewed my stories and messages. But a lot of times you'll see just the engagement. What I do when I do go back there is I just screenshot it real quick so that I can remember who it is before it disappears. But then I have to remember to delete all my screenshots because that ends up being a lot of screenshots after a while. So that's been a really helpful one. Any more questions on Instagram stories or using it? I'm really happy you guys got out. Everybody that went and just posted it right now. That's awesome. I'm so excited. Yay. And just have fun with it. Like it's 24 hours. It's like, it's the forgivable fun, you know, it'll be gone later on. So if didn't get a lot of great engagement, you don't have to necessarily worry about taking it down. I'm wondering if I'm not tagging or using the right hashtags. So Ashley, when you talk about not tagging or using the right hashtags, one of the things that Rachel was talking about earlier is you got to get to give, and it takes a while to build up the following. You be going out to your followers and to the people. It's not just the people that you want to be searching hashtags into the new connections. Make sure those followers that you have right now, that you're engaging with them so that they're coming back to your page. So you've got to be putting it out there, that engagement that you have with them, and then coming back so that they're coming back to you. That's another message I've got to get to give.
And ask questions. Like I mean, you know, a lot of people are scared to go live. Use Instagram stories to kind of be your like playground for doing live videos, you know, and ask people questions. It doesn't have to be health and fitness related. I ask a lot of questions like, do you eat this or do you eat that? Or, you know, like, do you put your kids to bed this time or do you let it, you know, like you can ask all kinds of questions to engage people. And like Chris said, that's just, that keeps them coming back. And I do invites in my stories too. Like I just did one in my stories, and they go away in 24 hours. So it's not like you could do an invite to something in your stories every single day. It could be a free group, it could be coaching, it could be a challenge group, that you can use that because it's going to go away, you know, after 24 hours. And so Carl Deichler said something to the effect of like, do your power hour in your stories every single day. You know, share a personal development quote, do an invite message, post, shout out somebody else from your team or your challengers. What's the other one? Invite. What are the 4 vital behaviors? Recognize, follow up. What? Can't remember. Did I get them all?
You got the 4.
Of the product. That's what it was. That's what I was failing at. Like post your sweaty selfie, or like it doesn't have to be like, oh, I'm drinking my shake, but you can. You know, I do a lot of product placement. You know, you take a picture of my kids and my Shakeology canisters in the background. So, you know, there's lots of ways you can do that.
Or like today I did, I showcase like if I'm using a new recipe every day. And so I love emojis. And so it's like banana, coconut, superfoods, what keeps me healthy, you know, like my hashtag, what keeps me healthy. Because I've looked to see like, is that a popular hashtag? Yeah, it's pretty good. It's a pretty good hashtag, which by the way, don't use hashtags that have like 1 million followers on it, because what happens is it disappears almost immediately. Like you're never going to get seen. So I try to keep it under 200,000 followers on that. I try to find it's got like maybe anywhere from about 2,000 to 200,000, anywhere in there on a hashtag. So let's see here, Hannah. Yeah, use the location, Hannah. Oh my God, you guys are awesome with these questions. This is so exciting. I'm sorry we're keeping you late. I work on a college campus, so I get a tons of college students. That's a good thing. That could be a good thing. Someday, well, they also have parents too, or they could have older siblings that need some assistance. And so power hour and stories. Yep, that's awesome. Favorite products. Yep. I'm using my anxiety to winter weather. I live in PA to relate that I can work from home until the roads are clear. Today I use my Eagles cup for my Shaco and wore team colors to support our hometown team. Yes, brilliant. You got to talk about yourself and the Eagles and the anxiety, and you got the product in there. That's, yes, nailed it. Nailed it. Okay. All right. So yeah, we're all happy on that one. All right, Stacy. So any other questions on Instagram? Because we do need to wrap it up. And Rachel and I just had one last section for you, and I'm going to turn it over to Rachel to do her top tips, and then I'm going to bring it home on
for challenge groups. Is that what we were going to talk about? Yeah, we just wanted to kind of just drop real quickly. Obviously part of your power hour every day. I mean, our challengers are the heart and soul of our business. Like we can talk Instagram and brand and all that stuff all day long, but we got to take care of our people, right? Because that's what makes up our business. And that's our challenge groups. So just some of my favorite things that I like to do in my challenge groups is I really again, kind of the same things, honestly. Like I tell my story in my challenge groups. I ask questions in my challenge groups. I try to engage my challengers because we all know they can check out pretty quickly. But if you're sharing like the funnies, the hardships, the mom life, the struggles with your challengers and showing them that you're walking that road along there with them, that's really important, and that keeps them engaged. If you're asking questions, one of my favorite things I've started to do in the last 3 or 4 months is at the end of every day, we've always done this rate your day kind of check-in, and we still do those, but I like to post a motivational image, quote or something, and I'll ask a few questions like, what was your favorite quote from your trainer today? What was your high today? What was your low? Today I asked them, my focus, I was kind of jabbing for my January challenge group. I did this in a free group and my traditional challenge group. I said, my focus for January is going to be, let's thrive instead of survive. And I said, I hope you're going to join that group with us or something. And then I said, what is one area of your life that you feel like you're just surviving? And 2, what is one area that you really feel like you're thriving? And you'd be amazed at what people will share, and once they start to share in those challenge groups, just like on social media and connecting, once they're sharing and they feel like it's a safe place and they've connected with people there, then they're in it for the long haul, and they, you're able to help them more, honestly. And so those are a couple of things that I love to do in my challenge groups.
Those are great. I always love that when you do your favorite quote from your trainer today, because we all have them that stick in there. And like Autumn saying, leg day, you're going to love it. And I'm like, oh, no, I'm not. But you're right. We'll get it done. So for me, for the challenge groups too, is it's really important that you, again, take those relationships. It's not just getting somebody in and dumping them into a group. And I'll admit, when I first started, I was like, oh yeah, I thought challenge groups are great. So I thought you were just going to jump in to do it when I was still doing them with Melanie. And it's taken that evolving of the process that you can't be scared to reach out, and you can't be scared to really ask the direct questions. Are you using your Shakeology? This is what you need. You've got to be, you give a lot to them too. So what I started doing is I have, instead of prep week, a lot of times we'll do a prep week and everybody can get ready and stuff like that. I call it training wheel week. And I expect them from day one to show up and start doing their workouts. And I will still add people in during training wheel week. But what I do is I have a document now where for every group I have, I record a welcome message. And then I can reuse how to use on demand, how to use Shakeology. Because you realize that people just don't automatically know how to do that. People are not going to flip over the label and read the instructions on how to make it, and then it's awful, and then they hate it, and then they don't want to use it after 2 days. They aren't putting in the effort. So I call it out right then and there in the video. My Shakeology video says, hey, by the way, your first couple might be awful, and this is why, and this is what happened to me, and I share my story. And I'm completely honest with all of this with them. So I have the document. It's their how-to and what they should be doing. And then during training wheel week, I reference have you taken your measurements yet? You should have done this. You should be done with all of this by now. And why? And then I tell them, why they need to be done with all of it. A couple other things that I've been doing is I do something called Fit Appointments, we do them every Saturday morning, and they are Zoom calls where we all just get on and work out together. And it gets everybody, A, it's a really great workout for us, for the individuals, and B, it gets all of us interacting together, because we're high-fiving on there and we're talking, and it's not just us getting up and posting the same thing. It's us actually getting together. So I'm very clear in that I miss my classes in the gym. And it just doesn't work for me anymore. This is the best of both worlds for us now. And it's really gotten people engaged. The other thing that they do, the first 2 weeks of a challenge group, we do nutrition calls, where I go over the first week, I go over the containers, and we go over how to make a meal plan. And then the second week, they have to show up with a meal plan. And if they've got areas or that they might have struggled in, or what they're filling in and stuff, and we answer those questions. And then by the third week, I haven't had a group yet that's needed the third call, but we would do a third call if people were still struggling with meal planning. So just getting them on calls. And by the way, if you start getting people on Zoom calls, they get really comfortable at it. And so then when all of a sudden you're talking about coaching later on, getting on a Zoom call isn't so scary anymore. So those are my top engagement tips right now. The last one I just started doing is battle buddies, and we're kind of matching people up. So we've had people that have really been pairing up, and it helps you, the coach, too, because it's taking their time. They're engaging each other. They're making sure they're calling each other out. If they haven't seen each other on a post, they're messaging behind the scenes, and that frees you up to be able to be checking and saying, okay, these people have checked in. Great. I need to go check on these people there. So those are our tips for engagement. Those are our tips for rocking some relationships. So what I want you guys to do and commit to for the rest of this week, the rest of this year, your Instagram stories every single day. I don't care if it's just one post that you're getting on Instagram stories, but just every night before you go to bed, post them. Just get them done. Boom, boom, boom. They're done. And they will be up for the entire next day. You'll already be done for.
And talk about 80-day obsession, please.
Oh, yeah.
Y'all, I am just blown away at the people that are not talking about this. People love autumn. They love the 21-day fix. People want to do this program, and you want them to do it with you. So please talk about it. I know it's scary. I know it's overwhelming and intimidating. I used to hate launches, but, people want to do it. Just make it your story, and people will follow you.
A little obsessed. My views and everything else just blew up when I started talking about a little obsessed last month, and I'm going to do the same thing this month on my stories, all about my workouts, all about making fun of the bands. People loved when we made fun of the bands.
Yep.
So, okay, we have kept you way too late, you guys. You are so awesome. Thank you so much.
Good night.
Good night, everybody.